It's been a long time coming just to spend some time with you as well too. But it is always a good time when we have our conversations to kind of, I don't know. You and I always had like really insightful conversations, and I always, I take a lot of it. And your perspective is definitely on the humorous side as well, and the dark side as well too. But there's an element to it that I found fascinating because of your background and the things that you like to share with me. But yeah, I'm just glad to have you on the podcast and really just dive deep and on things that are important to me. And starting this new year, it's just important to kind of keep the conversation going.
Yeah, it is a long time coming. So I know that in our line of work, we have those moments where we could be talking about something really real, and you're just going to get interrupted by somebody who's just over your shoulder and who's like, yeah, how much is that?
Yeah, man. And it's
and you're like, you have to go help them because that's what you signed up for. That's what we all signed up for. But it limits the amount of spaces that you can have those connections unless you're just gonna pull somebody away and hide with them. And I know that it affected some of the things that I really wanted to talk to you about and really wanted to share with you, and just kept waiting for the right moment, and it just never came up. That we got to connect and we got to talk about things like parenthood, because you can't do it in the amount of time that we have available to connect at our work.
And time, and distance too. Like, as much as I would love to be like, hey, let's go get drinks, or hey, let's go talk about this. Like, we are in. Well, again, after an 8-hour shift, I don't know if that's like more viable. Like, hey, let's go catch some drinks. But yeah, you want to spend some time at home. You want to recollect and align with yourself. So I totally get it, man. I'm just saying that after 2 to 3 years doing this podcast and having these people, in front of the camera and actually having these conversations, it really it peels back a layer that I'm glad I get to uncover, but also I learned a lot about myself when hearing, perspective and stories. And so, yeah, I just want to make sure that that if I can have anyone on the podcast, it would be you, and kind of understanding that, hey, like, this is what I bring to the table. And I think that, there's a beauty into that. And I appreciate your presence at work. I know that a lot of times it's a lot of bullshit that we go through, but there's a way we navigate it. And I think that you make it worthwhile being at work. So thank you for being here. Yeah.
Thank you. I think that those kinds of relationships are the thing that holds any job together. Yeah. I know that when I think about why things are tougher for us at work, and why I think that we don't do things as well as we used to, is because I know that the talent ain't there anymore. And that's not to say that the people that are left are untalented, but the larger pool of talent and real people that we had that were real unique personalities that just contributed to us, it's just so much smaller, and it leads to a smaller pool of ideas just knocking our heads together, trying to figure out how to unlock a door. And it's also just the amount of time that you have in a given 8-hour shift where you just get to connect with somebody that brings you joy. It's just a greater chance that ain't going to happen because those people aren't there anymore.
You said something that's powerful, man. Just because, like, the whole idea of the talent or the personality. I mean, it all is. And I was telling this the last couple episodes, but like the people that I want on this podcast, they have to have some grit. They have to have something wrong with them, just a little crazy, just to kind of like try to figure out what makes them tick. Yeah. And I think that's it, man. Like, when I entered this workspace, I think, or where we work at, there was just so many, not clashing, but definitely personalities, and that could be a good thing and a bad thing. But also, that's what made it magical, where we can have conversations and disagree, but also have different stances. And yeah, it made it more lively. It made it more, I don't know. But yeah, you got to know people, and then you got to just uncover so much. And so yeah, what it looks like right now, I just like, yeah, I think about that. I'm like, how do we contribute to the bigger picture? And I don't know if we're ever doing that. I don't know if we're doing that still. So yeah, bigger conversation for sure. But yeah, it's interesting how long it took for us to get together. So I appreciate you now. But yeah, today I wanted to kind of dive a little deeper. I know that there's always a lot of question marks, especially with me. So free form always ask me some questions, but I've always wanted to ask you, what's how did Jake Tice become to be? How did we get here? Because there's always chunks and pieces, and I've always just wanted to just kind of dive a little deeper. And the powerful part of that is, I don't know on your personal life if you get to talk about it or be vulnerable. And so just being Romel, I'm not gonna go too deep. I mean, whatever you want to share me, but I just wanted to ask you, like how Jake became to be, because I'm just naturally curious, and I always like to push the envelope. And yeah, if you're here and you don't think I'm gonna ask questions, yeah, I mean that's gonna be part of the thing, yes. So. But yeah, just wanted to know about you.
Well, the way that I think about how I have developed into the person that I am is a couple of different stages. Part of it is being just at a young age, just being pulled across the world to go live somewhere else in a completely different spot. And there will be people that say like, well, yeah, but they spoke English too in England, didn't they, Jake? Yeah, they do speak English. Yeah. It was nice to be able to have that one thing in common, along with the thousands of other things that were completely different.
Yeah, roads are different.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that I'm as haunted as I am by the simple question asked on an American schoolyard of can I bum a rubber, which is can I borrow an eraser?
Right.
Yeah. But these are
explain that.
Yeah, these are the things. Yeah. These are the things that are different that people just go, "Oh my God, you just said something. Yeah, you just said something completely different. Yeah, you talk like the." You talk like the gay robot from Star Wars. Why is that a thing?
Put him back in the cage.
Yeah. So part of it is that. Part of it is the reset, being pulled over into doing something completely different and trying to establish an identity in a very different spot. It was battling a lot of things just because my parents, for better or worse, did not have the kind of meaningful conversations that you would think that people in their situation might have. My parents are not of the same race. My dad is white. My mom is brown. She's from South America. You would have thought maybe that at some point they would have sat me down and explained how beautiful and unique I was because, love is love. Instead, I had no idea what race was until I was about 6 or 8. And somebody asked me after soccer practice if that was my nanny who was picking me up and dropping me off from the games. Yeah. And I was just like, well, why would you assume it was my nanny? And they would say, because she's not white. And I'd say, no, she's white. Oh, and they'd be like, no, she's not. This is what white is. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, thank you for that. So like weird things that you didn't think that you had to come to terms with, that you come to terms with like so much later. You don't really have the stuff to unpack. And then when you do take it back to your parents, they address all that stuff a lot later and a lot more clumsily
so like last week
than you would like. Yeah. That's an interesting thing to grow up inside of. And I think it started me it started me towards like the first development of Who is Jake, which was, it became a lot more important to get the approval of strangers.
No.
And it's the kind of thing that hustled me towards things like music, hustled me towards things like comedy, because I wanted the approval and connection of just every random person that I would run into. Because then I'd be like, well, then I'm doing it right. Yeah. Well, then I'm normal. Then I'm unique. Then I'm a good person if I do that. And the people in my personal life, they're whatever, because they're supposed to love me, right? Yeah. Well, they're supposed to like me, right?
And when did this search, like how old were you? Did you develop it as a...
It started being something that I think I was explicitly doing around middle school when I did start playing an instrument. I started playing the clarinet, which is not a cool instrument. There's never been. I want
to be that guy.
There's never been the guy that's been like, I'm gonna get a woman back to my place, and if I can just get her back to my place, and then I can be like,
have two functions.
Just have the clarinet out, already assembled, not in the case, just already assembled. And she goes, "Oh my God, do you play the clarinet?
Yeah.
Do you know any Benny Goodman?"
Yeah.
I'm like, oh baby, do I know Benny Goodman? Do I? Yeah. Hold on.
Slept with that guy with the clarinet.
All I need to do is start, tickling the not the ivories, but whatever they were made out of, tickling the clarinet, and then just that would be it.
Right.
Another successful. No, that's never been anyone.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a large straw.
Not even Benny Goodman himself. He knew it was a lame instrument. He knew.
But that's none, and that's it speaks a lot of volume too, man. I think, I can relate. I was always, I don't want to say I always was a kid, but I started off being the kid that dad, my mom was left me when I was 4, and dad just raised me on my own. But he had a million other things to worry about, just trying to keep us alive. But I think that the most important thing was that I seeked validation through others, and my father himself, I don't want to say he didn't care, but he wasn't a graduate. He was an orphan from the Philippines with his other brothers and sisters, and they came over here. And so it's like every small thing wasn't a big... everything I did just didn't amount to good job or success or et cetera. So, I would say that, I wilded out, when I was younger, and, that could be a good thing and a bad thing, because I was seeking validation. I'm saying, hey, I'm the funniest. Hey, I can, I don't know, just a lot more validation, and I wanted people to see me. So I'm not gonna say I understand what you're saying, but I feel it. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah.
No, I think a big part of it, a big part of me just shirking off friends and family for the approval of others was the fact that it was so tough to get any kind of acknowledgement from my dad on that. And I did think that my dad was fucking cool at the time. Yeah. Now I look at it as somebody that took 4 kids to discover that they didn't want to have kids.
Yeah.
And the allure and mystique of my dad is gone, along with his hair. It was mostly the hair, Ronell. But yeah, it was. I did think that my dad was a really cool guy. And like I said, when I was young, I was living in England. My dad was working in America. When my dad would come home to see us, that was an event. It was like a big deal. It was like dad's coming in. And if I didn't respect that properly, or if I did something to screw it up, that would just me screwing it up for everybody. Because if I got him upset and if I got him checked out of that, I would screw that up for everybody. And then who knows what would happen next, when in the reality is that as an adult looking back on it, my dad was always going to be checked out because my dad did not live with us. So he was always going to be coming home and just busying himself with whatever he was going to do because he was just a checked out guy and it wasn't really anything to do with me.
Yeah, and that's hindsight, right? You always kind of see how clear it is now looking back, and that makes me sad, bro. That makes me, it's we can only do better, right, moving forward, and you kind of see those patterns, and you kind of see that lifestyle, and you kind of just hope that you never fall into those kind of things. So yeah, I mean, there's a great awareness by acknowledging that. Yeah. But I mean, how many siblings do you have? I guess that's another question that I should be asking, because you said 4. You said 4? I'm so sorry. Yeah.
I have a younger brother, a younger sister, and then I have an older half sister who stayed in England, still lives there with her partner, and is raising my niece and my nephew over there. And so, you also have that kind of relationship factoring into what friends and family is supposed to feel like to me, because to me, that was my sister when I was growing up, and I didn't really draw a distinction. And my mother did a really great job of making sure that her husband's daughter was a part of our family. But at the end of the day, she had her mom, she had her siblings that she was growing up with, and they could not come with us. And so that was like the first big, the first big tear with that, because we didn't have things.
You saw it like with your eyes. You saw it, like you could not take her.
And we didn't have the same kind of easy access to technology that would have made it so that you could just reach out to somebody and check in with them easily. Yes, we did have the internet. I'm not that old, but it was the coordination of it that again makes it an event. Like, I am booking time to connect with you. Yeah. We will be connecting for this amount of time. We will be potentially discussing these topics in there, as opposed to just being able to shoot off an iMessage and say, I was thinking about you. Yeah. The technology has really lowered the barrier to entry for that, which is fantastic, but it came along a little bit too late for me.
Sacrifices in between too.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. I have a half brother, half sister, then I have a half sister. Jake, I think when I met you, there's this profound, there's just like this energy, this feeling like I can relate to you, you can relate to me. I said this to Ben as well. I can't put a button on it, but it's like one of those things where, when I met people at where we work at, there's just some personalities and some people that I kind of vibe with already. When you came over from the other store that you're at, we immediately hit it off. I think it was just the humor that like brought us together. But there's a certain amount of, I don't want to say pain or experience that, I get it, that I don't know we shared, but I can definitely understand. And so when I got to speak you a little bit, pieces at work. Things just became question marks, and I always wanted to, hang out with you, have a beer, and be like, what is this? And, I'm glad that we have this time now, but it's also, I think a lot of it comes with you seeing, family move and being separated. That's not an easy, So then you became the oldest, right? Out of the two. Yeah.
And, I've been good at that. I've also been pretty poor at it. It mirrors a lot of the relationships that I have with our friends at the store. sometimes I've just been really in depth, really present throughout the whole thing. And then sometimes I've just dropped off with people. And sometimes that's because they've moved on. They're at a different store. And sometimes it's just they're in the same one. And I don't know how to talk to them anymore. And this is beyond just like, can you get along with your coworkers at work? Because these are people who have graduated to that place where I consider them friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, there've been like a few specific ones that I'm disappointed at, for myself, for them too, and for me, because that is the job that I've had for 6 years now, and is the longest real job that I've had outside of comedy. That is where most of my important relationships reside now, is with the people from and around that. And it's been part of that. It's been part of like that next shift in who I am, is actually shifting it away from the approval of strangers back towards the approval of friends and family. Because these days, the approval of strangers that I would get from like our guests, it means very little to me. I mean, I'm always delighted when I connect with somebody and we're really talking about something and they're like, oh man, we're really just going to start talking about recording on log right now and how we found these cool LUTs that we've been using to get that exact look that we're looking for. We're doing this. And then at the same time that that's happening, you see the other people, the normal people looking at you from across the table, and you're just like, silver, blue, orange. Leave us alone. We're talking about the real stuff over here. But those kinds of connections with strangers, fewer and farther between. For me, it has turned back, and it's more valuable. It's more valuable for me to maintain it's more valuable for me to retain the strong relationship that I have with my partner, the strong relationship that I have with my friends. Because, you got to believe that I would do anything that I could for you or for Van and for, so many of us. If I felt that you were in trouble, if I felt that you just needed somebody to advocate for you, I just hope you know that would always be me.
Well, that's another thing too, is like, it's so much politics of where we work at, but the idea is that there are times where we stick up for each other, and there's times where the message has to come across, or there has to be more dialogue, right, to kind of get the context or the meaning across. And I enjoy that because it's meaningful. It's a connection. When we find those times and spaces, then it works. But nowadays my outreach to the newer family members, they're limited. I'm not taking the time to. I'm not taking the time to get to know people.
I feel you on that.
Yeah.
I will say that it's been an interesting generational shift.
Yeah.
An interesting generational shift.
Yeah. Cheers. Because honestly, the idea is that when I joined the place, I thought I'd be around other people that with the same passion, same procedures, the same. But it's just like with this new batch of our new generation shift, it is definitely getting harder and harder to see what kind of people we're letting into this place. So it's and I want to circle back to what you said. Yes, being the older brother, it sucks. Not sucks, but for me, I'm talking about myself. It sucks because I could be doing more, and I think that's always been a big thing that I've always held in my heart is I could do more. I think that because my mom having a different family, like leaving my dad for a different family, and then my dad leaving at 17 for a different family, and then just leaving me. I don't like to throw the word homeless around, but I was unhoused, but until I graduated, there was a lot of, you chose to have another family. Like I wasn't enough for you, so I am going to graduate, go to school for one semester, join the military, and then then the rest is history. And so when I think about that, I think about the siblings that I've not left behind, but my siblings that didn't get to experience me. There's something there still. It's still there. Yeah.
My father's longest relationship is with his now third wife. They have no kids, and so it's hard not to look at that situation from me and go, so that is what he was looking for.
That is man. And look, I always come from a place where before I had kids, I would say, well, I never had kids, so I don't know. I always came from a place where, well, I don't have a wife, so I don't know. But like now that I'm here and I'm like, what the choice is, I'm just like, I would, you look at the cards that you're dealt, and then you say, I would never do this. And then when you see people do it, you're just like, wow, that takes a lot to I don't want to say screw over a child or, or leave this trauma behind, but it takes a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. So, I get it. And so, so you moved with your two younger siblings, and you guys came to LA, and you guys settled in and started school, I'm assuming. Now, what's the age gap between you and the little ones?
My brother is 2 years younger than me, and my younger sister is closer to double that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So school, and then what is an 8-year-old British boy coming to LA look like? What does that transition look like?
God. I mean, everything is different, Ramel. Did you know that the elves on the Rice Krispies treats box, they have different names?
Okay.
They have different names over in England. They have different voices.
All right.
Did you know that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles weren't called the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? They were called the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, because the conservatives in the government were afraid that the mystical Asian arts would get kids into gangs. And so they're like, they Hero Turtles.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. The Foot Clan, right?
Yeah.
And it's the fact that when you've got a Lego set, and it comes with like a little firing action cannon, those cannons only fire in America. And then in the UK, they're shaped to be something that's like kind of a cannon if you look at it one way, but is mostly just not, because even the idea of looking at a gun could get you into that life.
Yeah.
Very, very big culture shift. The America is presently in the grips with conservatism being a lot more influential than it has ever been. But this is something where if you grew up in the UK, you've been dealing with for a while, just based on the way that they choose and elect politicians. We've had conservatives for a lot longer. And so in a lot of ways, it is a more buttoned down society. Everything is a little bit off. Our police don't carry guns, but when they do carry guns, they have AK-47s.
Yeah.
So it's like, that cop doesn't have a gun on him now, But
He
he's
escalated to that.
just a quick sprint away from the trunk of his car, where he does have a very high-powered rifle. So,
So things are a little different.
Things are a little different. The knife culture too.
Oh my God.
But what it is also is it's just the friends and the family that you have are the friends and family that you have and that you will keep for the rest of your life. English people do not make friends except for outside of when they go to uni, outside of when they go to college. They will make a select small group of friends in college, and then that will be it for them for the rest of their life. And I buck this by being the kind of person who's changed jobs way too many times and been in way too many disparate industries and started stuff over, so that I have friends who are just over all different walks of life. Just even here in San Francisco, I have people come into work who are the people that knew me when I was a dog groomer, that are the people that knew me when I was an electrician and lighting tech.
Wow.
And so when you do stuff like that, you don't have that same kind of culture of like, oh, I have my friends from this one area. Nope, your friends are going to be from everywhere, and you have to adapt a lot to. You have to adapt a lot to the fact that English people are a lot less talkative, a lot less likely to spill their feelings. Americans tipped more on the other side.
Yeah. But that's actually, I mean, now do you see that as a, like when you go to university, I'm assuming that's what uni means. Yeah, university, and you go to places, is it more of like a permission, like you're my friend forever kind of thing, or like it's like I just don't understand. I just like I think in a sense that you kind of enclose yourself only to a certain mentality, only to certain opportunities, and so that's kind of normal. That's just like a.
I do think it's not great. I think it leads towards things like people being more conservative, because if you are more conservative in aspects of your life like that, you are cloistering yourself. Right. If you only ever hang out with the other Catholic kids that you went to school with, what is your perspective of somebody outside of Catholicism? Probably limited.
Right. Okay.
So I do think it's a worse way of doing it is to not make friends. Wow. At work, to not make friends with the people that you live on the same street with. At the same time, as somebody coming from the outside, it can also be really difficult to like vet people for if they would be good friends when they tend to be oversharers. The oversharers are like the kind of people that will just spill stuff out. And I know that you've probably run into a ton of this at work too, where you're like, I sell the devices, and someone is just going to try and grab you and tell you their life story. And you're like, this is actually not 60 Minutes. Yeah. This is actually, you are inside of a Ralph's right now, sir. I'm behind the deli counter right here, and I'm asking you what kind of cut you would like. This is neither here nor there that you were in your own country in an internment camp. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry for that. Can we get back to the prime rib?
Yeah. Try the potato salad. No, it's wow. That actually gives me a lot of perspective, man. You know, in other cultures as well, like in Japan, like. You know, it took me a long time when I was out there and I was trying to do some sort of journalism, some street photography, and to learn the hard way that small talk is not welcome in Japan. You kind of put in perspective of what needs to be said will be said, but everything else is nothing. But also what you shared was cloistering, like you said, it's with the conservative mindset, not being exposed to other X, Y's, and Z's. Now, do you think does that kind of mindset? And again, you're not speaking for all of Europe. I'm just saying that like, you're not like but like
I'm not cleared for that yet,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
can get that
Yeah,
clearance.
yeah. You applied for that.
Yeah,
No,
I'm just going to send it out by mail.
yeah.
They'll send me a crest
Yeah,
that I'll wear.
they'll send you a biscuit.
Yeah.
Bag. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But they'll. But I think that's does that push the generation, but like maybe the mindset or maybe the culture forward, or do you think it holds it back? Wow. Yeah. Thank you for exposing. I didn't even think about it, but that makes me think. Like, does that keep it from progressing?
I'm going to relate to you. I'm going to relate to you something that I've been thinking a lot as a lot of the people that have visited me at work explain to me what's wrong with the world. In the time that it takes for my point of sale software to slowly respond to me and allow me to move on to the next person who's going to explain to me what's wrong with the world. The problem that we have that relates to that cloistering, that relates to that conservative thought is I drink coffee. I like drinking black coffee myself. Sometimes I'll put a little bit of creamer in it if I want to treat myself.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'm drinking black coffee. And for people who are not as adventurous as myself with a little bit of creamer every now and then, but for people who love their black coffee, but then will go into a Starbucks, go into a Pete's, go into any small coffee shop, and they see the endless options available in front of them, will see those options, and instead of just looking down to the person in front of them and going, my black coffee, please, medium, they will be upset at the options that they see in front of them. And it's not because black coffee is gone. Black coffee is still there.
Yes.
They would prefer it that you just say black coffee because that's less effort, I feel like, in a lot of ways, because it's just like, boom, black coffee. Yeah. All right. Pete, we'll call you when it's time.
Yeah.
But what they do is they see the options and they see all these million different variations. And that stuff becomes upsetting because that kind of variation is an answer to like the nagging little question in the back of their head that says, am I normal? Am I like everybody else? Is the thing that I'm doing acceptable? And if 8 people in front of you put their orders in with soy milk
and
you did the black coffee, you just got othered by that. You got othered by it because everybody else picked their specific option, and now you feel bad because you were on the outside of that. Nothing is being taken away from you, but because people who are looking for their specific options got specific options, now it feels like you are being othered. And the problem that people have with feeling like they are ostracized is they know how they would treat somebody that was ostracized, and they're like, okay, someone's going to be treating me like that, like I would treat them.
Yeah, but we go into it. Thank you. No, I totally got the analogy. I totally got. But like we live in a society right now, or in a mindset where it's like, and I said this before, but it's just like not trying, but even just putting yourself out there. We don't have enough people asking the question or putting themselves out there, going against the grain. Do you feel that way? I mean, do you feel like there's just enough? There's just a lot of yes, or just like more people that just are compliant to whatever is. Yeah, and I don't like that, and that's why we have to keep the conversation going of why, and we need to. Yeah, because every time that you and I, get to connect and we get to talk about the great place that we work at, it is a lot of question marks, and we try to figure out what the purpose is, and we're trying to find it amongst each other, and it's like yeah, if there's enough truth and honesty, then maybe the world would spin a little bit faster. Maybe we would all like each other a lot more. But yeah, we as a society, we stop the conversation before it even happens. And yeah, yeah, that circled into, a culture to progressing and holding each other back, but also, yeah, it doesn't feel good to be the other. And
and it also doesn't feel good to be disenfranchised.
yeah, that's true too.
I think that is the big thing that we're struggling with right now as our society, at our pay grade, is the disenfranchisement, is the feeling that the dollar that we have goes a lot less further than it used to. The changes that we say that we want when we bubble in those bubbles on a sheet are far less meaningful than they used to be. And it's just seeing other things happen in the world outside of your control, going like, well, I didn't want that to happen. Did I do that through one of those small bubbles, or for forgetting did I do that from filling out that survey, or neglecting to fill out that survey, or just pushing it back on my to-do list, knowing that I wanted to bubble in that bubble, but I didn't allow myself enough time to do it?
No, it's that's I hope that like again, learn a lot about what kind of culture, what kind of society we live in. And I think that, I don't know if I say do more, but yeah, it's definitely it's always mind-boggling to find someone to kind of, especially what you, and I know what you just said, what you just shared right now speaks volume, not in the space that we're in, not with the question I asked, but it speaks more volume in what kind of place we're in society. And so, yeah, that speaks way bigger. And so, it's always good to kind of remind myself, like, we have a lot more work to do. But I don't even know what the answer is sometimes. I always wonder, like, when am I doing is correct? Sometimes I don't know. Like, do you feel like you're just playing the game sometimes?
Yeah. No, I feel the same thing. I don't have an
There's
answer
so much hypocrisy.
to.
I'm so sorry. There's so much hypocrisy.
Yeah.
That I live. I'm a patriot. I'm American. I live under the shell. I love the security blanket. Then I realized that we're doing a lot of fucked up shit, and I don't know, man. And I've again said this on the podcast. It's not in front of my doorstep, so I don't care enough. But I live in this bubble, and when you said Coister, that just stuck with me, because I only revolve myself around people that think the same way, and I'm not putting enough pressure on myself to think and open up opportunities in my head. So thank you. So that whole thing segued to, now it made me question, like, am I progressing? Am I pushing it, or am I? Yeah. So yeah, thank you. Does that make sense? I don't know if that made sense. Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And I find myself having to challenge myself in the same way, and stop myself from being a bubble baby.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the friendly rivalries in conversation that I would have with a couple of ex-coworkers of mine at a previous store who were outspoken conservatives. And we would go back and forth. They would give me shit on stuff, and I would give them a lot of shit on stuff too. And I think that kind of stuff is important to have, to help challenge perspectives. I feel like I have that in a smaller way when I go back and forth with my friends over AI, when they're like, AI is saving me time on this. And I'm like, oh boy, it's saving you time, but let's talk about all the things that it's costing you. And then in us doing that, we're not ending those conversations going, well, I know that I'm right. And he's going, well, I know I fucked that one up. I didn't get that conversation one. We're both challenging each other in that moment when we have that conversation about that.
Yeah.
And we make adaptations based on what we have shared with each other. I think the thing that's different, though, when I have a phone call with a technician as I'm making dinner complaining about AI as I'm seasoning a chicken, and the way that politics looks right now is the cults element of it now. I don't want to engage in any of that.
It's all rage, baby.
And so when I heard that that my girlfriend had a family member who was having a Christmas party, and she pulls up to the place, and there's just a giant Trump Vance flag just still pasted to the house months after the election is like settled. It's like, that's aggressive. It's hostile. And that's also kind of what they're like. So at the time, I couldn't make whatever that holiday time get together was for work obligations. But looking back on it, with my girlfriend, I was like, oh yeah, I absolutely could not have been there. Like the number one thing I would have done is I would have tried to turn the car around. I would have grabbed the wheel and been like, turns out there's traffic on the highway. We will not be able to make it. Kind of a thing. But like, I mean, she just sat there on her hands for the most part, like just having very like zoned in conversations with the friends and family members that she loves. But yeah, it's hard to relax when you've got such an image greeting you on the home when you roll up. And I think that cult like fanaticism, I want no participation in. I do not need any collaboration or exchange of thought with that. That is its whole other thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's, you know, I've said this before too, and I'm not gonna justify it, but you know, a lot of those, and this is my perspective on that. It's just like, sense of community, I guess. I don't know, like I mean, you gotta find some positive, I don't know, some sense of community. So. Hey, look, I think that it is important to be challenged, and I think that there's an uncomfortable conversation, and the place that we work at, it's not, and I think Joey said this best, was we're great at giving feedback, but we don't crave or want to receive the feedback. So shout out to Joey on that podcast. But I will say that it's been interesting to observe how we are moving as a country as a whole, seeing the people around me really not show true colors, but definitely show a part of them where I'm like, okay, well, maybe we don't align anymore, and that's okay. But what makes me sad is that we're not having the conversation to even voice it out. And I think that this is why this is super important to me, because mental health and views and perspective and the journey of a man's life in the 21st century, it's just important to capture. And I hope that whomever is listening to this can share some, and hopefully they'll listen to this podcast or see this video and then have that conversation with somebody else. And that's all I want to do, just start engaging, just start get the wheels turning.
That's what we have to get back to.
Yeah, but people are just not ready to have those conversations. People get so defensive, and again, maybe that's a generational thing. But but let's get back to it. I think another question that I wanted to ask you is, just for context. When I was a young laddie.
Yeah.
Do you know who Dat Fan is? Comedy Central presents. Last Comic Standing.
I know about that fan. Yeah,
he's my favorite comic when I was growing up. And
boy, and look at the time.
And he was, I know. Very, very
it's okay. There was a time when he was our only Asian comic. We were only allowed to have one at a time.
I think we rotated out. Yeah, you think he was Vietnamese or something like that. Yeah. But
it was the Joe Coy of his time.
Yeah. No, there's too many of them. I think that for me, when I was growing up, I, again, not lashing out, but it was more of a wanting people to see me, and I had an identity crisis as well. But I wanted to, be in comedy, and I wanted to, I was like making people laugh, and I love, the idea of, let's have Romel over, or whatever, just to have a good time, right? And I always thought about comedy. So when I met you, you've shared some stories, and you shared your time in comedy as well in that scene. How did it come to be, and what does comedy look like mean to you now?
Oh God,
God.
I don't even remember. I don't even remember how it started. I started doing open mics when I was going to junior college because, believe it or not, at the time there was a comedy club across the street. And after that, I kind of just treated it like being a foodie, where I was like, I'm going to go to all of these different pie shops around the area, and I'm going to have a slice of pie at each of these. But except I did the same thing for open mics. So open mics, for the audience not familiar with it, it works like this. You pay sometimes, but you pay to sit there in a chair and wait your turn to go up on stage and do your 4 minutes of work that you have, and then you get off the stage. And that can sound cool. We can also, depending on the venue, be a good way to avoid the cover charge for getting into a club. Pro tip.
Okay.
Cover charge you can duck sometimes with a open mic night.
Okay.
But what it also is that nobody tells you when you get started doing it is, if the audience is all made up of people who are sitting there clutching a sheet of paper, waiting for their 4 minutes, they're not laughing. They're not laughing. Even if they could laugh, they would not want to, because they want to be the one that's getting laughed at. So even if they weren't freaked the fuck out, they would never laugh for you. And
so you just don't know if you're doing good or bad.
Yeah, you have no idea. It's what it is for is it is an exercise in timing for figuring out, okay, this is what 4 minutes feels like. This is what 8 minutes feels like. This is what 20 minutes feels like. And that's my time.
Right.
And it is also just getting over the hump of public speaking, if that's a hump for some people. I feel like the last time I had that was maybe middle school. Because again, I have a part of me that's broken, and I require the approval of strangers. So I want to stand up in front of people and talk and not be interrupted. So I was fine with that part.
Yeah, you're being interrupted. Yeah.
I was fine with that. I got over the fact that nobody was laughing at anything, and would usually use it as just my way to get timing down, and my way for somebody, hopefully, to notice this and say, hey, would you like to open? Would you like to do warm up for me? And then that's the actual work. And so I would do warm up, which I liked, because for me, warm up was easy. I would talk to the crowd and just make fun of them for the smallest things.
Crowd work.
Yeah. You just ask people where they're from, make fun of their home city, or just like ask a very specific question and get somebody to give you an answer on it, and then make fun of their answer on that, and then just say,
or you just calling people gay, that always works. Hey, yeah, I mean, yeah. No.
If anything, what I would do with that is I was always the target of things like that, or it was, if not me, somebody above me. So it would always just be me talking about what it's like to have a small penis and an ugly face, or how unfunny Jay Leno is in, especially if he's in the next room.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it. And then punching down really does not work. It does work for some people. It does not work
Like no
for me.
slams, or you don't do any slamming or like that?
No, it does not work when you're the white guy. It will come back to haunt you. Somebody will find the video clip of you making fun of Dat Fan and using the accent, and they'll use that to skewer you. So I'm never doing that. There are some people that do it really well, just because people trust them.
Oh, no. Sorry. I was still on that.
Exactly. Yeah. Because if you can do the Vietnamese accents so well, you win them back over.
I was gonna say,
you can say something terrible, but because you did it so accurately.
Yeah. No, but that's interesting, man. So you did some open mics, you did some more. Now I've always wondered what the circuit looks like. Is it like more of like a get to know these clubs and they bring you back, but the payment part, I didn't even know that you had to pay to get up there. I thought it was more of like you're doing us a favor by getting up there. And that's how maybe I perceived it.
It depends. It depends on the place that you're at. It also depends on the relationship that you have. Stuff that I never did. I never did road work. I've never gone around the country and done stand up. I think that would lead towards me becoming an alcoholic. If anything, would led less towards film work and more towards me being an alcoholic. And I never did competitions. I never did anything like that, and maybe I should have. But I was like, I'll be damned if anything that we do can be graded, and I'm going to stand on a pedestal and say that I was the third funniest person. Like, well, I don't want that.
Well, yeah.
I don't want that. It should be like a Michelin star.
Right.
It should be like, do you have a Michelin star? Okay, you're cool. You're cool. You're a good restaurant. Okay.
But not first, second, third.
Yeah.
And I've always unlocking that part of you too just makes me understand like the banter that we have, and like we are able to riff and go back and forth, and it's always a good time. We always leave making inappropriate jokes for work as well, and but I enjoy that, and that makes more sense because you're in that realm, and I think because I don't want to say I have a love for or love or passion for comedy, but I understand what the culture. I mean, Jesus Christ, I have a parasocial relationship with Bobby Lee. I feel like me and him are on the same page, and I had to let go of that dream or that feeling, but and it's stuff like that. It's just like, listening to podcasts, watching Comedy Central, moving forward. Just everything from watching Improv, The Cellar, like just watching all these videos and just understanding that like this is another community, this is another circuit that I just don't understand. So that's why that's another thing that I just wanted to kind of dig deep and be like, hey, what was that final? What does that mean to you? What does comedy mean to you? I mean, is there like a overall love letter or something?
I don't know. I mean, there are so many.
Are you like the Joker? You just fucking all the trauma. You just had to let it all out on stage or something, or?
I mean, there are a lot of different schools of thought. I've never been like a good joke writer where I am just popping off one-liners or just set up punchline. Yeah. For me, it's just been about storytelling. It was that's all that it was for when I started, was just getting the timing down on a story, and it becomes the easiest thing to have 8 minutes because you just have to tell a good 8-minute story that you can accordion depending on how it's being received, so that if things are a little bit quieter, you can accelerate, move a little bit quicker towards the end. If things are going well, you have a little bit more time. You can expand out. But it's just about being keenly aware of what's going on in that audience and knowing how to best take advantage of them. And it's also about knowing that if it's going really poorly and you're getting nothing, you can just leave. I wish someone had told me that, but like, if it's ever unrecoverable, you don't need to keep doing it. No one wants you to do that. Most of all yourself. So you can just turn around and leave. And I have done that. But what is comedy? I don't really know. It is, people want to laugh, but I don't really know why they want to laugh. I know that I want to laugh, and I know why I want to laugh, but I don't really know why I need to do that. I think part of it is how I deal with situations that are inappropriate. It's just like, you just got to find a way to laugh at it because it'll consume you. When I shared with you a few days ago a guest that we had in common who was rude to me, I shared my frustrations with that, but it was also about unpacking it and like trying to find the humor in it so that I could process it and leave it behind.
And I enjoy that because and that's, I'm not saying that's the way of you expressing yourself, but that's your method. That's your process. And I see that and I know that. And when you have something that's lingering in your mind at work and you approach me and you're just like, I want to talk about this. I know that you just, you yourself need to let it out. Yeah. And I appreciate that because what that means, it comes with perspective. It comes with a lot of inappropriate things for work. That's like, we'll keep it at that. Yeah. But you're right. Your frustration.
Yeah. When I relate it to what we've already talked about, I think about it as I had a moment when I was in high school where there was nobody to sit. There was nowhere to sit on the campus. I had nowhere to eat lunch. And so I just asked like a full table that had space on the end, can I sit here and eat here also? And they said yes. And I sat there and I had no idea who the fuck any of them were. And I didn't talk to them. And it felt super awkward to me because I just like sidled myself onto this. And I'm haunted about that till this day. That was in high school. This was 2002. I'm still haunted by this. I still think about it.
Are you sitting at the table?
Yeah, by just me joining a table, by me having permission to eat lunch at a table. I'm haunted by this because I've decided that it was awkward that I was just sitting there because I didn't have a screen I could stare into, I guess. But if I think about some of the awkward moves that I've had with friendships that faltered and didn't go anywhere in the course of me opening up more to strangers and finding people outside of my immediate group, when I think about those failures and I think about the times that things like that have turned into material, that helps. And like without me like taking over the show and just doing my tight 8 that I have, like taking that joke about that college classmate who asked to borrow his notes, couldn't figure out exactly what the wavelength was, and was like, was this guy hitting on me? Was this inappropriate where I assumed that this guy was hitting on me? Does this guy think that I'm a homophobe? And then at the end, the punchline is that I'm mad that we didn't go back to his car together and fool around in his car in the parking lot. So like after all of these like gay panic fears, it turns out he just wanted to go down to the underground parking lot and just fool around with a stranger. That kind of joke in 8 minutes and then with the reception that it gets from the audience, good. That helps me put that story in the past. And that's just a funny thing that happened. It's just a funny thing where I didn't quite know what a person wanted from me. And then I just turn it into a joke and I don't have to think about it anymore because it's just a funny thing.
Yeah. No, that's it. And now, I mean, like you yourself, do you like, what was the motivation? Like, did you have people that you looked up to that you wanted to not model, but I mean, and I guess that was the basis of the question of like, what is comedy to you? How do you feel about it now, being in that space and now not being in that space? Was there?
Yeah, for me, everything that I do is a derivative of, number one, David Letterman, who is just the template for what a lot of people are doing. But for me specifically, also Steve. For me, also specifically, Steve Martin.
Okay.
Just because of the way that he would.
Eccentric.
Yes.
Yeah, he was eccentric, yeah.
The way that he would be an idiot, but be a snobbish idiot. Mm-hmm. And he would tell people things that were wrong confidently. And he would say, "What do you mean, you fool? The sky is orange," kind of comedy. Yeah. That is the kind of stuff that I try and emulate. And so the most fun that I have just telling jokes that I think of in the moment at work or in my personal life is when I just think of something ridiculous to say and just commit to it, and then see how many people I can get to laugh at that situation, or how many people I can get to do or believe the ridiculous thing that I just said.
Yeah, I can probably take a grasp at that. I probably had the same kind of idea when I open my mouth and just say the most craziest shit just to get a reaction.
Yeah.
But it also, but I want to say that I definitely feel you on that level of just being, not wanting to be seen, but I mean, I see you and I'm listening to you, and all I can hear you, all I can think about is, wow, like I need to find validation in others. I say the craziest shit just to get a reaction, and I mean, everything that you shared today, it definitely resonates with me, and it's scary because when I think about not crossing paths, but like what kind of path we could have been on if we stayed in that realm, or we kind of pursued the passions or the things that we wanted to do, what would that unlocked? You know, because you obviously you saw yourself out. What did getting out of comedy look like?
I mean, for me, it was, I knew that I was going to start school. I knew that I was going to move up here to the Bay. And I also knew that I was tired of figuring out my taxes. You have to do your taxes a lot more often, and it was untenable for me. I was I don't like this. I don't want to grow up. And I got a feeling that this is ending soon. And so I told myself that I would start doing open mics up in the Bay Area again. I've done that a grand total of one time in the almost a decade that I've lived out here. I've done it a grand total of one time. So that did not end up happening. That being said, I also feel like I have a pretty all-encompassing job that does not really allow me to think in the same way. So that it's funny because our boss has somebody told her that I was a stand-up, and she was like, we should figure out how to do some kind of a talent show. We should figure out how to get you doing jokes. And I was like, that they would all be jokes about this place here, because ever since the pandemic, yes, I was like, ever since the pandemic, my brain has been broken. Yeah. And I can only tell jokes about things that are in my immediate vicinity. I can only tell jokes about things that are around me. Yeah. And so I don't know what she imagined that the material might be, but I was like, no, you don't want that. I can work clean, but I can't make it not personal.
Yeah, it's and that's one of the things I've always wondered is like, my biggest question is, how do you write a joke? I don't know the structure. I'm not asking you. I'm just saying like that's something I've always wanted to navigate. And two, it's just, I've never been a strong, I know this is going to sound ridiculous because I'm talking in a podcast, but I've never been a strong talker in front of a crowd. I've always gotten nervous. I've have anxiety, etc. But it's just one of those things where this is where my element is. I love the one-on-one. I know that there's more of an intimate conversation where, it doesn't require too much thinking, and well, I mean, yeah, you know what I mean, but there's not too much eyes on you, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I've always wondered how to structure a set, and sometimes when I think about my comedy, I'm like, am I just being an asshole or just being, just slamming people? Like, was that even funny? Is that even considered comedy, or am I just being a dickhead? So
sometimes, because you got to think of it this way.
I don't know.
Number one, like I said before, I don't know how to write a joke. Can't write jokes. I'm not Mitch Hedberg. Can't do setup, punchline. Just can't do it. What I can do is I can tell stories. Yeah. And I can do public speaking, because while I haven't taken comedy classes, because I don't necessarily believe in them, I have taken creative writing classes. I have taken speech writing, and I've forgotten the word that we call it now. We call it something weird. Giving speeches is not called that when you learn it. It's called forensics or something. Don't quote me to that. We'll go back and fix this in post so that I say the right thing. It's called something else that you would not expect. But I've done stuff like that so that I know how to write. And I also know how to write with the intent of delivering something. And speech is different because people aren't usually going to interrupt a speech unless to yell something like, "You lie."
Yeah.
But
you did 9/11. Yeah. Okay.
So you don't really need to be ready for crowd work with a speech. But one of the things that helps with scenarios like that is by working with a persona. That fan, that wasn't really him. Yeah. That was a persona that he helped because it helped shield him. It's the same thing that Larry the Cable Guy does. That's not Larry the Cable Guy's voice, but Larry the Cable Guy helps insulate an insecure man from a crowd. Same thing with Andrew Dice Clay. The material that he told before he invented that character, completely different from the character, because for some people it is just about having a persona that protects you from that. Now, some people don't need the persona at all because they just have an overabundance of charisma and self-worth. There are very few of these people in the world. It's basically just Will and Jada's kids. They're the only ones that could do it. Everybody else needs a shield. Everybody else needs a persona. And so I get up and I do have the persona, and the persona protects me, because if I'm at work and I say something wrong, it's like, oh, why did Jake give me bad advice? Oh, that was stupid. I'm going to go tell him he told me to do something stupid. And then I got to go, that was pretty stupid. I gave you some bad advice on that one. Sorry, bro. I'll get you back. But if it's the character can say whatever. And this is beneficial for if you've insulted someone, because then you're like, but the character said it. And it's also beneficial if you just get something wrong, because you're like, well, the character's an idiot. That's the joke.
Wow. No, that's great. I never even... Thank you for breaking that down.
So really all you would need to do is just go up there with a thick as soup Filipino accent, and then you'll be fine.
Rommel. German, I have a couple of avenues as well. And then I look Spanish as hell. And Filipino accent.
You could also take it that way. Listen, I can't give you any advice for pretending to be Hispanic. Yeah. But if you want to go there and take it that way and just be like, I'm Rommel, kind of a thing, and that could work too. I'll watch you do that from afar.
See it all blow up in the distance. No, it's interesting. Yeah, thank you for breaking that down. I thought not that I knew a lot, but it's just like, who do you have these conversations about, like how to dissect comedy? What does comedy mean? I mean, I don't have access to comedians, so it's like, just you sharing that perspective. It's like, that is That's interesting, man. I didn't even think about.
Well, the truth is that in tearing all of it apart and analyzing it, it becomes not funny. You know, because it's just the work. It's the same reason why you can't enjoy a movie with your friend, the screenwriter, because they're just going to sit next to you and they're going to go, he's hiding in the closet right now. And then they jump out of the closet and stab her. And well, how did they know? Because they know, because they write these things all of the day. And so comics, when I would sit around with my friends or my writing partner at the time, we would just sit and we would type and we would slide a laptop over to somebody else, or we would say something out loud, very rarely. But then you just get like a muttering of consensus and people going, yeah, that's funny. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah. We wouldn't actually laugh at anything. The laughter comes later.
Yeah, it's a work. Yeah.
But it's work, and it's breaking stuff down, and it's doing punch up on things and saying like, no, it's more funny if you use this word. This is a funny word. Say this word, and also say it with this delivery. This delivery is probably going to be funny. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've always I've heard hearing that in the community. I've always what do you mean you guys just kind of hang out and write jokes? What does that even mean? What is the structure? Where is it? Is it are we? Yeah, man. I mean, you just pick and pull from different things, and you try these things out, and it's such an art form. That's really what it comes down to, and people don't understand that is the, I don't want to say jester, but there's a reason why the jester never got slain by the king, because this jester kept everyone's spirits up and he kept material going. And yeah, man, I think I want to explore that a lot more in 2026, man. I really want to kind of understand why I never, not take the next step, but it's just why I never really got to uncover that life, I guess. Because a big part of what I wanted to do in kind of context is when I was doing documentary work in college and I shifted over to journalism. I was supposed to move to New York, and I think I've told you this sad old tale before. And yeah. But another thing that I wanted to go into, because when I was documenting San Francisco, the same homelessness and the change of San Francisco, and just housing crisis, et cetera, et cetera. It's the same story, and so I wanted to dive in a little deeper. And I thought about going to LA, I thought about going to New York, but the idea was, because I wanted to work for Vice News. At one point in my life, I was I want to be embedded with some drug dealers in a crack house and just capture 24/7 and understand why people do the things they do. And I thought about what Vice was covering and the million dark interwebs that they have, and I was thinking about, I would love to be a journalist in the comedy, the industry, comedy circuit. Yeah, that was one of the other avenues that I've, instead of news, because when I went to Reuters, which is a news company in New York, when I got my internship, I wanted to just carry a camera around and travel to all these different places and understand what was going on. Maybe even do some photojournalism. But I didn't get to do that, whatever. But I wanted to capture what the scene looked like. I know that the East Coast and the West Coast have different vibes to their comedy outlooks, and yeah, it's just more grit out there, and they're more forgiving in the West Coast. I know, anyways, but I wanted to get into that realm, so I have big hopes for 2026 to kind of pursue pursuing journalism again, still documenting my life and keeping this going, but I'm very optimistic into opening up a lot more observation, just kind of sitting in the scene and kind of breaking down details and attention to, and kind of really removing myself as a character in this space. So that's what, and maybe journalism is where I've always wanted to go, right? Just documenting this, social media, just journalism. So I'm really still trying to find my identity in this, but what are some hopes or admirations you have for 2026? Because just what does that look like for you?
Well, first of all, a lot of respect for you with your candor, talking about how you are exploring what's coming up for you, given the extra context for where this is coming from. I love stuff like that. I think that when we have that strong identity outside of what we just all do for work, or when we express a willingness to just not be limited by that identity, I think that is mental health. I think that's mental health. I think it's part of what has. I think it's part of what's kept me sane, is knowing that I'm not just the salesperson. I'm the salesperson who was also the lighting tech, that was also the groomer, that was also the stand-up, that was also the graphic designer. So I never let the most recent thing just define who I am, even if it happens to have been something that I'm doing for a minute. It's that, and it's also the personal relationships that we have. I am Julianne's boyfriend.
Yeah.
I am Ramel's friend. I am Van's friend. I think when we have those links, it stops us from being minimized. When I think about what I'm looking for out of 2026, I'm still on the kick where I want to see other people succeed. I want to see some wild success stories that I am proud of. I love hearing you share this because I know that you're going to go on and do something fantastic with it. And you're going to juggle this and everything else that you have going in some impossible way that makes me go, wasn't he full-time? I feel like we're both full-time. What's my excuse? I do it for that because I love watching other people succeed. For myself,
yeah, man.
I
want to know.
I have one thing that I'm working on that I'm going to keep under wraps from now that I will give you an update on.
Yeah, offline.
Yeah. And then for me, I think what I want to do is I want to stop just talking about it, and I want to actually start putting my home together properly. There's a lot of things in the homestead that just don't work properly. Just doors that don't shut properly, ceiling fans that turn themselves on. And so I've got a lot of hardware to pull off and refinish and reinstall. I've got some electrical work to review. If it turns out there's nothing wrong with the electrical work, there's definitely some work to be done for phantasms.
Something wrong. Yeah.
No, this is the truth. Last week, I watched the ceiling fan turn on above my bed as I was sitting there watching TV, and was like, well, I see the light switch is off. Yeah. I don't feel like I remember standing up and pulling this, but there I am watching the ceiling fan go. Yeah. And I'm like, when is this going to stop? And then it's just about, 8 minutes later, it just stops. And I checked it at some point later in the evening. Light switch was firmly off. String was pulled in the off position. It was definitely all the way off. Or was it?
Wonder how many times that goes off when you're not home. Interesting. No, and that's so you're thinking about
ghosts.
No,
home improvement.
Home improvement. No, and that's a good goal, man. I think you got to keep it, realistic. You got to keep it manageable as well. And I don't know. I think that with the reason why, first of all, my dad was a tattoo artist. My dad was a tattoo artist. I don't think I've ever said this on the podcast, so yeah. But my dad was a tattoo artist, and he, at a young age, my dad would always say, I had a career in being an artist, a tattoo artist. I had a shop, or not shop, but I had a chair to shop. But I stopped because I had you. And I think that at the time you just kind of say those things, but then you don't really understand like what that does to me. Meaning that like, oh, I stopped your dreams and your goals. And I think that really fucked me up as a young, like a young boy. And so when I think about the projects and I think about my degree in film and I think about my photography and I think about all the people that don't even have the opportunity to try, I don't want to, I do it for them because I think when I look back when MJ is older and MJ is understanding of what's going on, I never want to be in a place where I say I didn't try or I gave up on it, because I think I have a few left in me, and I think that, and I'm realistic, right? Like I'll call it quits when I call it quits, but it's like I don't have it in me to say no, and that could be a really bad thing, honestly, because I need to create boundaries around myself. And I'm not also young, so also I understand that too. But I'm doing it for that younger Romel. That that's just who would I be if I quit on it? Who would I be for the person that can't even try?
You are young enough
Yeah.
to do all of these things.
It
may not feel like it.
Yeah, I'm not invincible anymore. But the opportunities that I've had, it comes with clear communication with a partner that understands boundaries, and we give each other grace and periods of time to be in this space and to explore it and to stay in it, right? Because I mean, you can't make a picture in 20 minutes. You have to work up to it, right? Like you said earlier offline, you're like, it takes a little while for the engine to go, and I believe that very true. Is that I mean, unfortunately I run my life as I'm very regimental. I have a military background, so everything is to the point, to the T. We are on time, and sometimes I could see how that will affect my family moving forward, and there's no spontaneity, yeah, and I don't know if that makes me sad or not, and I think I do have to explore that as well with therapy and help healing myself too, because there's a beauty in not knowing, but I've only known to prepare for the best possible outcome, and I don't know if I want to live like that. Anyway, but that's because I can't control everything, but also with my background, I want to control everything, and that's a very deeper concern that I have moving forward.
And failure is scary, but failure is also necessary and not really bad.
I don't think I've only had one job, and it's like I don't know how to take the failure. I mean, that one time we were at work, and I've only applied for one thing at work, and I never applied for anything else. And everyone, every fucking year, everyone says, "Why not?" And you hear it first. I'm just scared. I don't know what that looks like, and I've failed so many times. I don't know how many times I can take another one. So that's the truth. I mean, if we're gonna be as raw and honest on here as possible, then I just don't know if I could take another, failure.
It's the kind of thing, though, that can potentially make you that much stronger. Every one of those early open mics was a failure. They're all supposed to be that. But the resilience that it builds for it, it's the reason why I can just sidle up next to you at a table and just rattle off a joke that sometimes sometimes just for you and me and not the customer that's there, or maybe sometimes it's just for me. It's only going to make me laugh, and that's fine for me too.
Yeah.
And I can only do stuff like that because I have that history of failure with it that bore out of resilience.
Yeah, man. I know I have to get in a place that's uncomfortable. I know that I have to. I'm very complacent. I'm very okay with everything, but I also know that I'm not growing as a person, and I acknowledge that. I'm very aware of that. Yeah, I don't know if the next step or the next opportunity or the next failure will be where we work at, but I definitely know that that question is definitely knocking on my doorstep, and I think that, yeah, it's sooner than later. Sooner than later, but yeah, it's been yeah, it's always awesome just having your presence be around, and I think that you just create a lot of value, and I don't know if you feel like you're not heard, but you are definitely heard by me, and yeah, it's a beautiful thing to kind of get together and allow us to be vulnerable and allow us to share stories and continue on this path. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for being here, and your story is one of one. It can't be replicated. So yeah, it's something powerful, and I hope that you know that it is powerful. That's why
Thank you.
Wanted you here, and I wanted to hear it. I mean, it's not like I took your name out of a hat. Like I really, like I asked you, I was like, I wanted you here, So
who I am right now is partially because of you, because working alongside of you and becoming your friend made me want to be one of those people that is more available to their friends and family and not swung the other way and just there for every stranger that they meet instead.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. There's no easy days. There's no easy days, and I've again, I'll say it again, but all the pain, all the hurt, all of it, all the trials and tribulations, it had to be done to get here, and yeah, all the pain, man. It was worth. I don't want to say it's worth it, but it was necessary to get the clarity. Right? There's people that I know that I've interviewed that want clarity for 2026, and I think that that's beautiful. But yeah, there's a sense of grace knowing that all that pain had to happen to be here. So, thank you again for being here. It's always a good time. I hope that you come back for the next one. Cheers to the future, dude.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I hope for too. I hope the next time that I'm a topic on here, it's not a postmortem about how that ghost got the best of me.
Yeah,
I'm just like up in my attic right now, hanging from a rafter.
It's crazy. And again, I don't know if you had any material moving, going into this interview, but no, not material, but like more topic points.
Yeah.
But it's so funny, like the way that the questions I ask, and then where we end up.
Yeah.
And then what they look at on their phone, and they're like, "We didn't talk about it." And I was like, "I'm telling you right now, I'm centered around this. This is like, and because everything that I've done in the past, we just lose sight of what's important. And I not study, but I'm just like, I need to make sure that, your story is important. It needs to be told. And a lot of times we go on these tangents and we just kind of divert. And it's like, I want to make sure we talk about you, not me, but you, and it's like, yeah, I want you to be heard. So.
And I think that you have something special here in how you are guiding people through unpacking that and helping them tell a coherent story. So keep asking those strong questions.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully big news in 2026, man. Thank you, man. Thank you for being here, bro.
Of course.
Yeah. Hell yeah.